buckle up, because it's gonna be a long ride. It's gonna be a wild ride. Nobody cares, but we're gonna tell you anyways. This is Popcorn Chats.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Popcorn Chats. I'm MICHAE.
I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. I'm Katie. Hey.
I was about to be like, is the internet that horrible that she like can't even hear me say the intro? And I feel like, wait, that needs to be on. And we're back to this week to discuss season 2 of Bridgerton. We covered the first season when it first came out, and we're covering season 2 because hot bitches watch Bridgerton, and we both binged, and I cannot wait to discuss. Katie.
Same. I feel like this is the most in-depth notes that I've taken in a while because we haven't watched a show. We haven't covered a show in a fucking minute. With Euphoria, we did episode by episode, so it was a bit easier, but we haven't binge watched and covered an entire season of a show in a fucking second. So we're back. Yes. It was a lot. It was a lot of content to consume. Mm-hmm. I'm ready to talk about it. I'm so excited to break it down and just have a chitty chat about season 2 of Bridgerton.
Literally so excited. I think every week I always looked forward to talking about Euphoria with you, and I feel that same joy today, sitting down. I'm just really excited to talk to you about this. Katie and I have Snapchatted a bit back and forth as we've been watching, but we really have not touched on much. Right. We try to keep our thoughts pretty separate, and even in preparing for this episode, I've only watched one of my book friends' YouTube videos talking about it because I didn't want to get too many opinions, but I wanted to hear what a book reader thought about it. But then I'm excited to hear other people's thoughts, but I've been trying to keep away from that because I don't want anything to taint my opinion before we got the chance to sit down and talk about it.
Yes. But first we must check in, bitches. What the fuck is up with you in your life?
It is same old, same fucking old. As it is almost every single week. I don't really have anything to check in with except I guess to touch kind of on the Oscars a little bit. My Wi-Fi was literal garbage, so I was watching most of it on Twitter live, so that way I could just see updates because it kept on freezing and buffering and whatever, so I got angry and shut my laptop really violently, and then I was like, oh my god, if I just broke it I'm gonna be pissed. Anyways, so I was watching updates on my phone, which was fine. This year I was not, we talked about it in our Oscars episode, wasn't super into it this year. Not really a lot of things that I was super pumped to see nominated or really rooting for, but happy that Coda won Best Picture. Love to see that. I mean, the slap heard around the world as well, absolutely wild. Some of the memes that have come out of it, pretty funny, so I guess there's that. But yeah, I don't really have much to check in about or really even touch base about on the Oscars, honestly. I'm just glad for the deaf community that Coda won, and the memes have been funny. So that's it. How are you doing, Katie?
I'm good. I had a splendid time watching the Oscars. I was blown away when Coda won. I was on the ground. I cried because I was not expecting them to win. As you guys can recall in the Oscars episode, I was not willing to bet money that they would win, but excuse the people. I know. Big dick swinging out
okay,
here.
Vin Diesel.
People... I live right off the freeway, basically under it, and it's always noisy, so I should probably close my window, but then it'll get hot in here, so sorry about it. But yeah, super happy Coda won, super happy that the guy who played the dad won Best Supporting Actor for Coda. Dune swept a lot of stuff. We were wrong about, Steven winning. Glad that Jane Campion won Best Director. Go women. Yes, all women.
Go women. Go the ladies. Even though in our Oscars episode, Katie was like, I heard your movie sucks, but I want you to win, so go you. Yeah.
I feel like...
We're for the women, so you know what? Anyway you gotta get it, you get that award.
Right, exactly. And I feel like a lot of our things that we wanted to win actually ended up winning, so. I cannot believe that Kristen didn't win Best Actress, y'all. We rise at dawn.
Yeah. It's kind of like at some point like with Leo when it was like, so what is he gonna have to do to get his Oscar? And it's kind of like with Kristen Stewart, I'm like, what kind of role does she have to do to get an Oscar? Because she knocked Princess Diana out of the park. So it is kind of like, where do you go from there? Or is she gonna be one that she's not gonna win for her best role, but it's more like a cumulative career kind of thing?
Injustice is all I have to say about that. As far as my life, I have taken a puppy into my home, not permanently, but I'm fostering him. He has many prospects of people who would like to adopt him, so that's good. We're just in that process. It kind of was an accident of how I like stumbled into this situation, but I am a foster mother. We're soul bonding and it's going fine. I had a bit of a mental breakdown yesterday about it, but it's all good now. Moving fast over here. We're moving into post-production for the short film I worked on last summer, and we're moving into pre-production for my feature film that we're doing a couple scenes. We're shooting scenes for this summer, so we're casting like the characters, which is so crazy that that's actually happening. I can't believe it that we're like talking to people who are interested in the roles. Like, I just never thought that this was gonna be a reality, so I'm super excited about everything that is happening to me here out in my life in Hollywood. But we're still little small Italian beginnings accent. But I was telling Shelby, I was like, I think we're on the precipice of the cusp.
Period.
And that is all. That is my check-in. Thank you for coming.
Now we're ready to jump in, everyone. Yeah. Shorter check-in for this week, but we must jump in. So excited. Where do we even start?
Do you want to do old faithful standouts or?
Yeah, that's a good place to start.
Yeah. Why don't you say your standout star?
Okay, so my standout star is white puffy shirts. I am a whore for a white puffy shirt. I never walk into a bar and like scan the room looking at a single man. It's more like I don't even want to be here. How long until I can leave? But if I walked into a bar and there was a man with a white puffy shirt on, I would be having to do some flirting because I love a white puffy shirt. But in all reality, my actual standout star, I have two because I literally couldn't pick. Lady Danbury and Kate. Loved them both. I thought they were both absolutely incredible. I was talking to Katie beforehand. I am so obsessed right now with the actress that plays Kate. I'm like unwell. I like am stalking her, going down a rabbit hole of everything she's ever done. I just think she was incredible. I think she's literally the most beautiful person I've ever seen in my entire life. And she was acting in every single moment. Like even like her nonverbal actions, like she was acting with like her collarbone, with like her neck veins, with her eyes, like everything. She was saying so much even without words at certain points. Couldn't get over Kate. Absolutely obsessed. And Lady Danbury is just an icon in this world here. Like she would be the one that I would want to like sit with at a party, like at a ball. I'd want to just like sit on the sidelines and chit chat with her because she knows everyone. She knows everything. She's so incredibly smart. She's witty. Like I just think she's amazing. And I love that we got more of her because I did like her in the first season with Simon and I really liked seeing more of her. And then like her relationship with Violet and with the Queen, like just every scene that she's in, she just like enhances it so much. Also, I just got a notice that my internet connection is unstable. 2 middle fingers to you.
We're a little lagged in the studio, but that's fine. My standout star is also Lady Danbury and Danbury. Sorry, I said that like a white person. I just think the mothers and matriarchal figures in this. Daphne's included in that for me. Like, I love her presence in this. It's not overstated, but I like her relationship with Antony in this. Lady Bridgerton, I think she really thrived. And Kate also in her like matriarchal role, kind of like nurturing Edwina. Obviously, Lady Danbury She is everything I wish to be in my older age. I want to be gliding around in a cloak. Everyone wants to impress me. I host the best parties. I find her incredible, and I love her relationship with Kate this season, and Lady Sharma too, even. I think a lot of them, the mothers, I respect them so much because they apologize for things that they did wrong in the upbringing of their children and help and help them to heal as adults. And it's like, if we all just acknowledged our wrongdoing that we did to someone in the past, it might be a little bit easier for us all. And I just think the women in this obviously are incredible, but I felt like motherhood was very much highlighted a lot this season. It was like an understated thing that pretty much like drove this entire season.
And I like that you talking about Daphne, how like she is more of like a maternal. She's very mature in this season. Like it was subtle, but like her presence was subtle. It wasn't overdone of being like, oh, we need to make sure that we have her back in because everyone loved her in the first season, so we have to have her included in this. But like she did do a lot of like maturing and growth, and she just has like an air of ease about her and an air of maturity where she was very like naive in the first season. And I thought that like her transition to this season was really well done. So I'm interested to see then how like Kate and Antony next season, because they are both coming back for the third season, I'm interested to see, how they change, both being a married couple.
Yeah, very interesting. What about your scene? Do you have one standout scene that you would like to discuss?
Yes, I do. I have many, but I did narrow it down to two because I can't be that overboard. But I love the Paul Mall scene in the third episode. I thought that was so fun. I just love the Bridgerton family as a whole. And I think like this ensemble is so strong. Like there's not a weak link among any of the actors in there. So I love seeing all of the Bridgerton kids and then Edwina and Kate all playing Paul Mall. And I love like the competitive aspect of it. Like it was just a good scene. Like there was heart in it. There was humor in it. There was progression for Kate and Antony, loved that scene. And then I loved Kate and Antony's dance when they're dancing and Edwina is like, I'd really like for you to dance with each other so that way you can like try to get permission, That dance was insane. That one, and in the last episode, that final dance that they had together with the like hands coming down in front of their face. Bitch, I was about to like crack myself in half because of the tension that these two had. Technically that's 3 because like 2 dances, but I think all of those are like imprinted into my mind after this season, and like we're all so strong. Yeah, love the dances. I just want to dance like that. That would be so fun, right? What were your standout scenes?
I really loved the scene in episode 7 when no one shows up to the Bridgerton party because of the scandal and they all dance together, the Sharma family and the Bridgerton family and Lady Danbury. It's such a touching moment. I think music, I've said before, a really important thing for me in film. It just works to pull at my heartstrings like all that much more. And that part, just seeing them all like have fun in spite of everything and kind of lean into that. Like the issue of this season is everybody got too caught up in like society and duty and like what they thought they were supposed to do. And it's like, okay, we're supposed to like be sad that no one showed up to our ball and be embarrassed about that, but we have all this food, we have like each other's amazing company, there's no bad blood really between all of us, let's just dance it out, bitch. And I was very emotional in that moment. I had tears in my eyeballs. And also there's so many good scenes in this, and this is just a very understated scene, but I did want to honorably mention the scene where Antony is telling Gregory, the youngest Bridgerton boy, about Lord Bridgerton, and then Lady Bridgerton overhears. Like, men who heal 2022. That is my presidential campaign. My cabinet will be full of men who heal themselves and then the nation.
It's what we need.
Men who heal are unstoppable in what they can do in their personal lives and for society at large, and what they can contribute to the communities that they are a part of. Yeah. Heal. Men and women and people in general, you need to heal. And if you have trauma with your parents, it's on them too to apologize for what they did, which is kind of going back to the mom thing. I love Lady Bridgerton and Antony's little journey that they take this season. I love the flashbacks. I love how we get to, we'll talk more about it when we get into characters, but like that moment really just was like so much healing was being done because Antony is realizing we don't talk about him enough, and like that could help me heal and get through it. And like it was just such a touching moment for Lady Bridgerton to see her son kind of like healing because he's opened himself up to like this love.
We love a man who can like then express his emotions. Like the scene when he finds out that Kate woke up from her coma. Bitch, I have never been more attracted to a man than when he's like crying. I love watching men cry. We've talked about this before. We love to see the men cry. We love to see them express their emotions. And Antony in that scene, served. It was so good. And then Lady Bridgerton, Violet going in there and like comforting him and talking to him. I loved their relationship so much. So good. Also, back to your dance scene when they all come in. And I love that Antony is the one to be like, George, Hyacinth, come down. Like, we are all a family. And like, because those kids never get to go to any of these parties yet. And I do think that that was so sweet that he included them. Because he's like, we are a family. And if we're going to be a family down here united, you guys are going to be down here too. Even if it's not proper. Because they're like, what do we have to lose at this point?
And they are this prominent family in society. But at the end of the day, they all do kind of know that that's not what's important. It's our happiness and our ability to stay together as a family, like finding true love and happiness. I like that Lady Bridgerton, that's all she wants for her kids. She does want the best for them, so she does lean into the like high society stuff, obviously, but she's not like oppressive about it. I think she's doing her best.
Like you could tell that in the first season when Daphne was with the prince and like the prince was interested in her, and then when Daphne told her like I'm engaged and she was like, oh, to the prince, that's great. Like, kind of like, yeah. But then when Daphne was like, no, the Duke, who like, they're both great matches, but like technically is like a lower ranked match, you know? And she was like more happy about that because she knew that Daphne actually had feelings for him. So like, you're right, she does genuinely care about her children's happiness.
Yeah, and
I love Violet.
Me too. I think it's so rare to see like a mother portrayed like so accurately and so well, and to really fully understand a mother character in this way, because like her relationship with Eloise and how Eloise can like feel her disappointment, you know, but at the same time, Violet doesn't treat Eloise any differently than her other kids, and she wants what's best for her too, and she wants her to be happy, and she knows who Eloise is, but she's also like does have these expectations and isn't very good at like hiding her opinions and feelings about what Eloise like is choosing to do with her life. And I think that's just like, I can imagine a struggle that a mother would have, like wanting you to be happy, but also wanting you to make the right decisions so that you're happy within like the world and society and rules that come with that. So
100%.
We've talked, obviously, with like the season 2 release of Euphoria, the pressure to live up to season 1. It's something that a lot of shows have to deal with, especially like coming off of a very, very, very successful first season. Like Bridgerton was huge when it came out, and the world was very different. Season 1 of Bridgerton. No one had anywhere to go. Pre-vaccine. We were all home. It was the holidays. We had nothing to do, honey, except watch these 1800s English people bang each other. The world is a bit different now. I would be shaking in my boots as a creator on this show, wanting to live up to the expectations and anticipation of this second season.
Well, and not only that, but you also have book fans. Like, it's a book adaptation. So you not only have the external pressure of just, like, a general audience to impress that would be, like, Katie and I, but then you have the entire fans of the Bridgerton series who have read and loved these books that Katie and I, we've talked about this plenty of times over and over on the episodes on the pod here about book to movie adaptations or, like, book to TV show adaptations and how hard it is, because yes, they are different mediums. So like I understand that not everything from a book can translate onto a screen and have it make sense. You're not going to get the same depth. A lot of the times, like certain story elements like maybe just don't translate as well. And from what I've heard, this is like they pretty much like threw out the book. for a lot of this. I kind of view it as you have an obligation, I think, to at least try to stay true to the book or try to make the book people happy, because they are the ones that are your guaranteed audience and your guaranteed money for this, where any random person off the street who might just look at this and be like, oh, that looks good, let me give that a shot, they're not going to come in with any expectations, so you can like really kind of do whatever you want, and like it doesn't take too much to please them, where when you have a fan of a book, I think you should try to at least do some sort of like fan service for that. And I think, at least from what I've heard, like book fans are still happy with the season, like they all still enjoyed it, but that it did go like pretty far off the rails, like plot wise. My one book friend that I watched her video, I watched Jess's video from Peace Love Books. I know she did like a whole vlog watching it, and I wanted to watch hers because I know obviously she read it and she's a huge fan of the books, and at least like, yeah, she didn't know what was gonna happen throughout the episodes once it got past a certain point. Like there were scenes like the Pall Mall scene and the bee sting scene, even though I guess in the book it was like way better, but like in the books, Kate and Antony get caught in the garden with him, like he sucks the venom out of her boob, and they get caught doing that. So then it turns into like a marriage of convenience, like Daphne and Simon from the first season, you know, when they're caught in the garden by Antony, and then it's like you have to marry each other. So I do understand that maybe for the creators, they're like, we don't want to copy the same storyline and do something similar, but we can still pay homage to certain scenes. So I do think that that's good, but I do think they did still leave out like some key scenes that I think book people were looking forward to. So I don't know. I feel like overall they made people happy, generally, but there's always going to be people from both sides who are gonna, like, you can't please everyone.
I would just like to say that this season, I guess, like, I don't really remember in season 1 being, like, so attuned to this going on, but, like, women always needing chaperones, like, unmarried women, that just sounds like a lot of fucking work. Like, you always need someone to be with you everywhere you go. And it's, like, weird because in all of these, like, intimate conversations, like, there's just someone lurking in the background. Like, Edwina, when her and Antony, like, officially, you know, end their engagement, like, the mom's just chilling in the back.
It's so weird.
And that's just, like, awkward, and it would be hard to consistently always find a chaperone, and then the stakes are so high, like if you get caught you have to fucking marry this person. The fuck? No thank you. It would be so easy to be gay in this time because 2 men are allowed to be alone together and 2 women are allowed to be alone together.
Wow,
and
you'd be thriving.
I would, babe, and it's kind of the same now. I mean, like, people who are gay, like, have sleepovers with their significant other, and then it's just like, haha, when your parents assume you're straight, so.
I would be really bad in this era because I would not get to know my person, like, whatsoever before I would be, like, matched with them. I would, like, barely know them, and that would be horrible for me.
Yeah, but you'd be, like, courted by them, hopefully.
Yeah, but that's literally the Duggars. Like, they have chaperones. That's, like, what they do. That. They literally are not alone before they get married. And
also, like, another reason why I just would not thrive in this time is, like, getting ready is already really hard for me. Like, it takes me forever. And I don't even do that much to myself. My girlfriend always complains, like, what are you doing? I'll shower, sit for 30 minutes. Do my makeup, sit for 30 minutes. Like, it just takes me forever.
You just move slow.
So to get all done up like this, I do. I move really slow. So to get all done up just to go get a fucking peach down at the stand, no. Couldn't do it. And, like, once it gets past 5 at night, like, I'm in my comfy clothes. I mean, I wear comfy clothes pretty much all day, every day, but if I'm, like, wearing a pair of jeans, baby, they're coming off of me as soon as I get home. But these women have to, like, stay all done up in case they have a caller, like, late in the evening. What is a bitch to do? What do you think your life would look like if you, as yourself, were transported into this time? Like, what do you think things would look like for you personally?
Yeah, I think I would probably end up being like a spinster where I would be like 20 and 6. I'm 20 and 5 and have no prospects.
Oh,
so I think I would be like that. Also, my hair, this is not my natural hair. You guys don't see my natural hair because my natural hair is ugly. and I need to put heat on it. I don't think they had flat irons back then to be doing the work on my hair. Also, I cannot see for shit without contacts in. So I think like natural selection would have probably gotten me already. But I don't think I would do good because I wouldn't like, I have horrible posture. I would not be good of just like sitting around and being like, oh, I speak 5 languages and I learned all these dances and literature. And I don't know. I don't have that. I'm like a very laid back, more like casual kind of personality that I would be like way too abrasive in this time period. No men show interest in me, so I would definitely not have any prospects, and yeah, I would just not be thriving. I would really not be thriving. What about you? How do you, I mean, obviously we already know that you could be having sleepovers at least with your girlfriend, or like be off on a promenade with your girlfriend and no one would think twice.
Yeah, I think I would pull like an Evelyn Hugo, maybe try to get a situation where my lover and I could marry 2 gay men, and then we all just kind of like hang out together and promenade together. And then my gay husband will unfortunately pass. I will be like I see myself as being like the last survivor, you know, my love, and then my like best friend and his lover. They all pass, and I see myself as being kind of like this wealthy Lady Danbury type figure who kind of just like nurtures other people, but is like an ally, helps people who are like of lower stature, and I advocate for progressive change within the ton and just all that stuff.
I totally go with the robes and like just Lady Danbury's house and like how she's like, my gardens are excellent. She just like can kind of do whatever she wants because she's like gotten to that point in her life. I would love to live like her, but it would be like, in actuality, I would probably be more, I don't even know. I don't know. You know who I would not be like? The incestuous Featheringtons.
Yeah.
They were on some wild shit.
Featheringtons. F stands for flop, babes. Y'all were botched this season beyond belief. And it was embarrassing. Until the very end. Like when Lady Featherington had her little gotcha moment. But still, I'm like, y'all are such flops.
They are. Some other like overall notes that I had was, again, I love, because I've seen now people recommending like other period type shows to watch or like period movie pieces to watch and stuff. And here's the thing about those. Bridgerton feels so modern, but so old at the same time. Like it just rides that fine line where it works for me. I don't like shows that feel like old when you're watching them and they are like from old times, where this just feels very based in like modern day, but yet so obviously not. And I think a lot of that has to do with like the music renditions, pop songs of our time, but then made into like classical sounding music. The costuming, that while it is obviously accurate for that time, you can even see how these pieces and like the wardrobe trends in our actual style, like especially the necklines on a lot of the dresses now, like that's very popular. And like the baby doll dress where like the, like, I don't know how else to describe it, but like the boob cut off is like very high up right now, that I wish that, why are men not wearing white puffy shirts? I'm not asking for much.
Take heed. I was describing this show to somebody and I was like, honestly, it's like if the British monarchy and like that way of life that was the 1800s just carried on into the present. It still does obviously take place in the 1800s, but like it feels like it just kind of stayed like that. And it's present day, but that way of life being showcased. I agree with you and I appreciate that about this show very much.
And I also like, I think another help for making it modern is that they really diversified the cast, because in the book, Kate and I don't know what their last name was in the book, but I know that it was like a white family coming from somewhere else, or I'm pretty sure it was it was not a South Asian family. So I love then that we have like 2 main women of color in the season of this, because I think that like everyone should be able to see themselves get a happy ending. And I love that then we did that like in the first season, you know, with like Simon, again, we had like an interracial couple there, we have an interracial couple here. And I think it's just like a cheap excuse when people make like old time things and say like, well, we can't have diversity because that's not like historically accurate. And it's kind of like, really? Or same with like fantasy at certain times. Like I know with George R.R. Martin, he's like, well, it doesn't make sense. Like I can't really have people of color in my books or in my like Game of Thrones because it's not historically accurate. It's like, you have dragons, dude. You can have some people that are not white in your show. And I just like that then we had, and especially just having like a woman of color. I feel like when Bridgerton, like the fan base is, I would say like predominantly women. So I think like then that's important that you're letting more women see themselves in your main characters this season. Great for diversity for men too, but I just think like, especially just to have the main heroine be a woman of color was a great change, and I'm glad that they did do that.
Yeah, and for people that are like, oh, it's not historically accurate, like my roommate Shelby was talking about this last night too while we were watching the show. She was like, it's just such a bad look for people to be like, it's not historically accurate, like the black people in this should be being like oppressed. It's like so you're basically saying like you want to see black people being oppressed because it's the 1800s. Like, that's
listen to yourself.
And people do the same thing. People do the same thing with Hamilton too, and it's like, well, a black person wouldn't have been able to be president or wouldn't have been able to. It's just like, can you shut the fuck up? Like one time for the one time.
Keep your mouth shut. You don't need to speak every thought that comes into your head. Once again, I love an enemies to lovers story. So that was strong in this season. We've talked about that before, how much we love enemies to lovers on the pod.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about like plot and tropes?
Yes, I think my last like overall thought was just the female friendship relationships were like a real highlight. I love that there were so many strong female friendships and female relationships, like sister bond, mother-daughter bond, the Queen and Lady Danbury like friendship bond. Just love to see all the women being friends. And I love that then Edwina and Kate were able to come together in the end and that this didn't like rip them apart. Yeah, the enemies to lovers trope. It's perfect, I think, for Antony's season. I'm glad that they leaned into that for this season and just the way that the plot like really wove itself around that and Antony's plan to win Kate over and then he accidentally ends up like falling in love with her. The competitive scenes. I didn't know it was called whatever you called it. I just said croquet in episode 3. Pall Mall, my bad. The hunting in episode 4. Baby, the color palettes in that scene. The blues. I can't. So stunning. Her outfit. So stunning. Slayed. Absolutely slayed, bitch. That was like top 5 favorite outfits that she wore. So good. And even that hat. Yes, the hat. I was so unwell when she emerged in that. Yeah. I know. I was like, what is she going to wear her dress? But she did a whole wardrobe change. Oh, her poor lady's maid, again, needing the chaperone. I mean, honestly, in that situation, I would also want a chaperone if I was going out into the middle of the woods with like 20 men. Literally, no. With guns. So actually, I would also, I'd also like a chaperone. But if I would probably end up being someone's maid and being like someone's bitch and having to do that. And I would be like, really? I also feel really bad for Eloise's chaperone. Oh my God, yes. I really like the scenes too and moments where like onlookers and observers of the dynamic between Antony and Kate kind of like realize or tune into the relationship between them. The dancing scene that you were talking about in episode 4 when Edwina asks Kate to dance with Antony to kind of like reconcile this enemy situation that they're in. I just love the moment where like Daphne and Lady Danbury and Lady Bridgerton all kind of see the way that he's looking at her and the way that she's looking at him. Yes. And because all of these women, particularly Lady Bridgerton, we find out more about like her past love, and then Daphne we saw in season 1, like her experience kind of with enemies to lovers. They all are aware of what that looks like, so they're very attuned to it. And then that followed by Kate telling Antony that she's moving to India. Episode 4 was really, really well done as far as like tension goes. I agree with all of the tension and with the enemies to lovers, with it being like perfect for Antony's season. And you're right, with all the onlookers, especially the one scene where Kate walks by when they get to wherever it is and like Antony greets them and he like stops and like does an inhale and like closes his eyes, and then he opens them and Lady Danbury's right there and is like, boy, what are you doing?
Yeah, and that was like after they had all been like, okay, so this is the situation, but we can't be like showing that this is the situation out and about. And he fucking does that like big ass inhale through the nose like a motherfucking creeper. If I were Lady Danbury, I would be like, lock it down. Lock it down.
That was not creepy. That was so hot. So hot. The tension.
You want someone to sniff you, bitch.
If he sniffs me like he does, fine by me. I was so like, like up in arms in a tizzy because the two of them were like sending me into such a spiral. I was like, Kate, no, Antony, no, Kate. Like I literally was going back and forth the whole time. But the tension that those two built, the chemistry that they have together made the tension absolutely insane. And you're so right in all of those moments that they have that the onlookers are seeing, like just the prolonged eye contact.
The clenched jaw. They both have amazing jaw lines.
Yes.
Which if you're going to be in this type of relationship, you got to have like a lot going on up in here.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying with Kate's collarbones. Because like her chest up here is like always exposed. And just like the way that she carries like just her chest there. Oh my God. It was all so good. Like, I'm like, these two, I felt like, I'm like, do these two actually like each other in real life? And then I found out that Antony's actually gay, which I'm like, that's a win for the men, but a loss for the women. And I'm like, the fact that they made me believe that they literally just needed to like jump each other's bones so bad. Was insane.
Yeah, I think the plot in this, it like, it was elevated, you know, when we talk about season 1 versus season 2 and kind of like building off of that really good success in season 1. The plot is a little bit more dynamic. I felt like they had a lot more layers added into it this season, and granted I haven't gone back and rewatched season 1, but I just really like Kate's entire family situation and how there's that like dowry situation that Kate's keeping from her mom and Edwina, and at the dinner when Lady Sharma like stands up for her family. That was just, like, really cool to see. It was, like...
What is that?
I literally don't know. Oh, my God. Excuse me. Thank you. What the fuck? Love Los Angeles. The thing that we got so upset about with Euphoria is, like, all these plot things, and it's, like, you gotta see it through. Like, you gotta tie it up. And everything that, like, Bridgerton plants a seed for, it gets like tied up by the end of the season at least. And then there are certain things that it's like intriguing for us for the next season. It's like, that's how you fucking do it, bitch.
Yeah. Sam Levinson, take a look. I couldn't agree more with that. I do think that the plot was elevated. I just finished rewatching season 1 actually. And I do want to ask you like which one you prefer, because I think when I first watched the season, I was like it has to be recency bias that I'm like, that I loved season 2 more. And when I got done with it, I'm like, oh, well, I would definitely choose season 2. But then I'm like, well, but could it be though that like I did just finish watching it, so I just went back and watched season 1. And season 1 is great still. But I just think like, you're right, it was elevated. I think the plot was better. We're getting more side characters. Some of the side character lines in this season I didn't really care about as much. I was kind of like, I don't know, they felt kind of like detracting a little bit. And I was kind of sad that we didn't get to really see Antony and Kate be a couple at all. But I think as a whole, like their chemistry, that tension carried this season through so well. And I totally agree. Like I loved the Sharma family. I loved the like different Bridgerton family dynamics and like getting more Violet. And I just think overall like season 2, personally, I enjoyed season 2 more. And I do think that like it was better than the first season. No knock to the first season, but I just think like they really improved in the second season, which is surprising because season 1 was already at like such a high regard for me. But which do you like, thinking like you said you haven't seen season 1 in a while, but which would you prefer?
I mean, I guess I don't feel like as strongly about this show as I do shows like Euphoria, but I did really love and enjoy this season. I guess I would also pick season 2 just because I really appreciate the way that they handled the characters and the plot in this season, and the way that this show does such a good job of making you interested in other characters, but then like focusing on the main ones really well and like having that be the main draw. We have all these other siblings in the Bridgerton family and friendships and relationships, and I just think it's a really well done show. The added layer of us knowing that Penelope is Lady Whistledown and Eloise getting accused of being Lady Whistledown, and Eloise's whole like ebb and flow with Lady Whistledown and like her being a fan of her, not being a fan of her, all that stuff, and then Eloise getting interested in Theo and how that affects her and Penelope's relationship. And then just like Penelope kind of being caught in the middle of wanting her friend to be okay, but then also wanting to like maintain this business that she's created for herself.
I like that we got to see Penelope actually as Lady Whistledown in this season, because she is a smart businesswoman. When you see her down negotiating with the print shops, she is running her own operation, and I love it. I love to see that. I do think she got a little messy. She really did. She got a little messy this season. I was like, Penelope, you're not doing too hot right now. And by the end of it, I was like, oh, Penelope, oh no. And I liked Eloise's like culmination this season with Lady Whistledown. And I like that by the end of the season, we know that someone knows about Penelope. Because I think if you didn't have a single person knowing again, like at the end of the first season, no one knew, and we only found out at the very end of the season. So I think that in this season, you needed to have someone find out about it. So I do like that by the end of the season, now we have Eloise, because then it's like in the third season, who else is going to know? Like, is it all going to come out? Is it all going to come crashing down? I feel like that makes sense for the arc.
Yeah, that's a good point. I also think ending this season with a breakup still, even though, you know, we had that like tied in a nice little bow ending with Antony and Kate, I think it's a really smart decision. Just like how you've mentioned before with other shows and like Euphoria, how they end together in one season, not together, like, you know, writers' choice to do that with shows that have multiple seasons with like a couple that stretches beyond all of them. I thought it was very smart to have the breakup between Eloise and Penelope, like the friendship breakup, because that really does set up a next season and what is that relationship between them going to look like, this beloved relationship. We all love the two of them together. We love the two of them as individuals. I thought that was a really, really strong choice to end the season with that.
Yeah, and we kind of ended up with two breakups, kind of like Eloise and Penelope, but then also Penelope and Colin. Granted, they're not together yet, but like they do get together in their book. But technically, like Benedict's book is the next one in the timeline, but I know they said that they're not planning on going in order. So I am wondering now if because we ended with them on the outs with I mean, they don't know that, or Colin doesn't know that he's on the outs with Penelope, but like Penelope is not on good terms with Colin right now and not on good terms with Eloise. So I'm curious if now the next season is going to be Penelope and Colin because we ended with them at odds. Just thinking about that. Also, like, as much as I loved all of the female friendships this season 2, there's a couple other like friendships that I love, or relationships, and that's Benedict and Eloise. Like, I think those two are such a dynamic Bridgerton duo. Dory, no, we're not opening the closet door right now. Mom's busy. But then also like the Bridgerton brothers. Like, I love seeing the three of them because they're like all kind of, well, I don't think that Antony is like particularly dumb, but I think like Benedict just has like real himbo energy, which is just enjoyable to watch. And I think Colin is just a straight up idiot, so I do like seeing them interact. And then Antony is like a father figure to them, but then he also can get down to like their same level of playfulness.
I definitely had a note about Eloise and Benedict's relationship. I think they're like uniquely positioned in the family where it's like what they do with their lives isn't crucial, but they're still under like the scrutiny, the public eye, and like public opinion of them and their family. Can we talk about the sex scene at the end of episode 7 and then that happening? And then how they met being reflected in her, like, running away and hitting her head, and Antony's panic about losing her again being utilized, like, how he panicked with the bee sting, and panicked when he found out she was moving to India. And then just, like, I just love all these moments where we get to see, like, his reaction to the idea of losing her. And I just thought the end of episode 7 was really solid.
So good. So first I had a note that I'm like, how wild is it that people back then just, like, died from a bee sting? Like, I know that people today still still can who are really allergic, but I feel like that's rare, you know, because like people are aware that they're, or for the most part, you know, like know their allergies more now, or like it's more readily available for people to know what they're allergic to, or like if they're allergic to peanuts, you know, like they kind of know about that and like tend to have an EpiPen on them. Seeing like a full-grown man like just die from a single bee sting, like that was wild. And I think, and it's no wonder then seeing that back, like Antony's trauma from that. And then also Violet like coming down, she just knocked it out of the park with her performance in that scene. And then in the laboring scene too, when she's like, he's an actual child, stop consulting him about my labor. I think I know better than he does. I love that we got multiple moments for Antony to like grow and like reflect back on his trauma, especially like when the bee stung Kate in episode 3 in the garden, and then like she calms him down of being like, look, my heart's still beating. That was so good. Love those callbacks. But if you want to talk about the sex scene, let's talk about the fucking sex scene.
They're outside, just letting it out in the gazebo.
I'm like, first of all, you like have to be so secretive in this time, and then you're just outside where anyone could walk up and see you.
Right. Like this whole time they're like, oh, we have to be so careful. And then the first time they bang it out, they're just like out in the wilderness. Okay.
I will argue that, especially after rewatching season 1, that this single sex scene, this single sex montage in season 2, and the entire tension from the rest of the season between these two was so much hotter than any graphicer scene that Daphne and Simon had in the first season. Like, I remember in our first episode, we were like, this is like 50 Shades level of wildness that I mean, obviously not like kinkiness, but like that we're seeing on screen here. Like, we weren't expecting that. And I think a lot of people were like expecting that same level of spice, but I think that the tension in this one sex scene was hotter than anything from the first season. That boob grab turned into hand holding in that scene. That was so hot. I couldn't handle that. And then that single moment of him, that really split second shot of him looking up from in between her legs. Get out of here. That was incredible. Like, they made it worth it. They made that one montage worth it, in my opinion.
I have to sort of disagree. I mean, I do agree that it was a great scene/montage. Super hot, super well done. But I was missing the sex. And these two individuals were infuriating. I was like, can we just kiss, at least? Like, can we just do something? You know, I'm not a very patient person. I wouldn't describe myself as such. Kind of thought that it was going to be like last season, where at first it's like a slow burn, a slow build, and then once we are in it, we're just in it. And I thought like the last 4 episodes were going to kind of be their like sex life together. But it's fine. I'm glad with what we got, but I don't like to objectify anyone, and that's not what I'm doing here, but I very, very much admire Kate's boobs, and I wish we would have gotten more of them, and that's all I'll say. Like, her body is fire, and when she got up from the bed in the last episode, I was like, oh my god.
I think maybe it was like all of the other subtlety was like what made it seem hotter to me was like just the fact that there was so much like tension. It was almost like foreplay the whole first 7 episodes. So then when we got to that like one scene, maybe that's why it felt like more satisfying to me, where like Daphne and Simon, they had so many that it was almost like we're just getting another time. I don't know, that maybe then it made it like more special, or maybe it really just is the fact that I don't know who I'm more attracted to between the two of them, where like Daphne and Simon, like I know like objectively they're both like attractive people, but like me, nothing. I'm smart but I'm stupid. I'm gay but I'm straight. The one scene in The Office when he was like, you're the bane of my existence and the object of all my desires, I think was that line. First of all, that about like sent me out of my chair. That was so good. And put Simon's I burn for you to shame from the first season. And I think that they should have kissed in that scene. I do think that that would have been like a great payoff moment for them too. And I think they should have. I think they should have kissed in that scene. Cause then whenever they did first kiss, like it was good still. But I do think like that scene right there, that was the moment to do it. Like I get what they did with like getting us close to there and pulling back again. Like they were edging us. So so I do understand that, but I think it would have been stronger if they would have kissed at the end of that scene.
I totally agree. And I had that same line written down because it was comparable to the I burn for you thing. I agree. I think they should have kissed then. And I felt, honestly, like when they did kiss, it was kind of a flop.
Really?
Like, not a flop, but there were so many other times where I was like, oh, it would be so good if they kissed right now. And then, so that made my expectations like, oh, when they finally do kiss, it's gonna be like crazy. And then it wasn't, like, it didn't hit that hard for me. It is what it is. I think I'm just impatient.
Which I love the slow burn, and I love the angst and the tension, and they really just, like, racked it up.
Yeah, I just think I, like, don't have time for slow burn. Like, I just wanna do Like Me or No. You down? You DTF or no?
Katie, that really is on brand for both of us, that you are more like that and I need the slow burn. Like, it really translates.
Colin's big dick swinging moment when he calls out the new Lord Featherington, and then how Lady Featherington capitalizes on that. And she's like, I have a team already. My 3 daughters, bitch. This man is shady. I'm so sorry. The new Lord Featherington, I had a bit of a crush on him. I'm not gonna lie when he came in. Skinny and scrawny. I know, he looks like a more attractive version of Michael Cera, and I was just into it.
Actually, yeah, okay, I get, he's up your alley. That makes sense.
Anyways, him, like, flirting with Lady Featherington and kissing her and stuff, I just felt like that was a scheme. No shade, no cheat. Actually, shade and tea to Lady Featherington. She's a bitch to Penelope. Don't fuck with my girl.
Trying to set your own daughter up with her cousin, no matter how removed. Rotted.
Oh my god. He's gonna pee. He's literally gonna pee in my room. No. Let's go outside. I'll be right back. It's an emergency.
Honestly, that was one of the side storylines where I was like, I just don't care at this. Like, I want more time with Edwina, Kate, and Antony. I want more time with Penelope and Louise. I want more time with Benedict and Colin. Like, I really didn't care about the Featheringtons this season.
I cared about it just in, like, relationship to Penelope. She can't just come out and be like, hey, I have this thing going on. Like, it's hard for a lady to make her own way in the world, and I think her family has to do well for a little while before she can just, like, go off on her own. And she does display a lot of restraint, because there are several moments where I just want to be like, bitch. If I were her, I would have been like, I'm Lady Motherfucking Whistle Down, bitch.
Yeah, I know. I think I would have a hard time keeping that secret.
And then Colin, too, I felt like was super tragic this season. Him going back to talk to Marina. You look stupid. Being friends with her plant husband. Her life is tragic, bro. Just move on. Like, you are so dumb. And then him, like, using Bridgerton money to invest in this Ponzi scheme. It's tragic, and I'm glad that he didn't, like, get their shit more fucked up by, like, I'm glad that he figured it out beforehand. I just felt like it was cool to see a redeemable moment for Colin and the Featheringtons, like, particularly Lady Featherington at the end, because it's kind of like, even though they make dumb decisions and, like, Lady Featherington isn't a very likable character, I liked both of them in that moment. I was like, go Colin and go Lady F.
I do agree. I think Colin is just a straight up idiot. Like, I don't know. I thought he was kind of dumb in the first season, but I think a lot of that was like him being naive. But after he's like traveled and stuff, I'm like, dude, you should be a little bit more aware. And just everything he did this season, I was like, you're just dumb. And like, I know men are stupid in terms of like knowing when a woman is into them, but the fact that he literally is so blind to the fact that Penelope, everyone, why does no one look at them and is like, Penelope is clearly into Colin? How has no one picked up on that? They, again, are as blind as Edwina was with Kate and Antony. I don't know. And especially at the end, I was just like, I know fuckboys have been around since the dawn of time, but like seeing Antony's conversation in the first episode and then Colin's conversation at the end, I'm like, fuckboys have been alive and well since the beginning of time.
The locker room talk situation where it's like, Troy Bolton even is the love of our lives, but he's also like guilty of that too. Just because you're around your friends doesn't mean you have to be like that. Yeah. Talking about women like that. It's so fucked up.
Rude. And Kate was right at the beginning to be like, you will be staying away from him.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, Kate, you go. She always had Edwina's best interests in mind, which appreciated.
This was like an understated dynamic, but I really like the relationship between Eloise and Kate because they're both kind of like strong-willed women who enjoy things that aren't necessarily things for ladies to do. Like Kate enjoys horseback riding and hunting, and Eloise like admires that about her. And it's just nice, I think, for Eloise to see like, oh, women like me do exist in this world, and it's not like she's living this horrible life. And I think they kind of like lean on each other in certain moments. I would have liked to seen that relationship be explored a little bit more, but they're very similar in that way of just being very kind, but not a huge fan of high society, and they just want the best for their families.
Yeah, I loved that scene when Eloise took her book out, like, on the porch or whatever, where Kate was having tea, and, like, they had a conversation like that. I like that. I also liked then when Kate had that conversation with Lady Danbury of being like, well, you're fine by yourself, and Lady Danbury was like, I'm fine right now because I've lived a life, and you haven't done that yet, and you're not letting yourself do that. Mm-hmm. And I feel like Eloise is kind of in the same situation as Kate. Like, they're in different progressions of that timeline. You know, like, Lady Danbury has, like, lived the life. She's by herself now and she's content. Kate was like, I'm going to be fine by myself, but she realized like that she is lonely, and that just because you love a man doesn't mean that that's the end all be all of your life and who you are as a person. Like, that doesn't define you. Mm-hmm. And she's like realized that and now has someone to be happy with. And I feel like Eloise, like, we're just waiting to see her also realize that she doesn't have to be alone or doesn't have to be single in order to be this like kind of, I don't know, like black sheep, I guess.
I think for Eloise's character, she is starting to realize like, okay, I'm eventually going to have to like marry someone. She has standards, and she's like, I want to be able to have an intellectual conversation with someone. Mm-hmm. And like when her mom has her dance with that one guy and he just like can't hold a conversation with her and like isn't respectful of her thoughts and opinions, it's like, okay, well then this clearly isn't going to work out. And then when she finds Theo and they can like share thoughts with each other, but then she's like, this is the first time I've ever like cared what a man thinks about me. So like, what if he doesn't feel the same way? I don't know. It's very interesting seeing Eloise navigate the early stages of her kind of like emerging into society. So, but I really want something LGBTQ to happen with her, but I just don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, her and Benedict radiate bi energy.
Benedict needs to be a bicon. I
could see him totally in like a menage situation where he's with like a couple, like a man and a woman, and they have like a threesome menage dynamic.
That'd be really cool.
I don't think that's gonna happen, but I could see it.
Are one of these kids gonna be part of the LGBTQ community? Because again, it's like, oh, that's not historically accurate. That could have never happened. Shut up.
Yeah, obviously none of them are in the books, but obviously we've seen before that Shondaland is not opposed to changing things from the books, so could be interesting. One other, like, kind of understated relationship that I really liked in this season was Daphne and Antony, and how, because we obviously got a lot of them in the first season interacting, and Antony was almost like a pain point for Daphne at many times, and like you could tell that he did just want what was best, but he was very like blind on how to go about that, and was like not ever taking her seriously or like really cared about her opinion. Where in this one now, she almost takes on the role of like the mentor, kind of like big sister role, even though she's obviously his younger sister. But she's very, like we said, she has like an air of maturity to her in this season, and I liked that she was able to give Antony guidance, and that she saw, like, Daphne isn't dumb. She knew that he was into Kate, and she was like, you aren't gonna do something that you're gonna regret, right? And like just saw him make all these stupid choices, but again, she knows she can't tell him anything, so she can only like gently lead him in the right direction. And I just liked seeing their bond change in this one to putting them on more of an even playing field, where in the first one, like, the power dynamic obviously was very imbalanced between the two of them.
Also, it was really nice, or not nice, but I liked the detail that in this season she walks in on him with Kate, and then in the first season it was like him walking in with the Duke and Daphne, and just how they like move each other's love lives along. It's just very interesting. I appreciated their relationship in this season. Very much. And, you know, talking about Antony's character and he's doing the most. And for what? Like, really, truly. I mean, I love the progression that we go through with Antony's character in this season. You know, at first I'm like, fuck this dude. He's a dick. He's out there being like, oh, I just need to marry someone and then I'm gonna go fuck a bunch of bitches and like, hell yeah. And being a douche to Kate, being a douche to his family, and just being like, well, I have this duty and y'all will never understand and it's such a thankless job and all this stuff. And when Daphne, like, he gets called out by multiple members of his family multiple times. But when Daphne's like, you sacrifice your own happiness for us and you like claim to have this duty and you resent us all for what? And we all, it's sad for you, bro. Like, we all feel bad for you. Do you not realize this? Like, we're not all like, oh, thank you, Antony. Like, or, oh, like, can't believe you would do this for us. Like, you can literally do whatever the fuck you want. And you're just being tragic right now. Like, we all just want you to be happy. You don't need to do anything.
It's like that person who does the most and is like, guys, look at me. I'm doing this for you. And everyone's like, no one asked you to do that.
Like him paying for Benedict's school. It's like, can you not?
I get with that. Like, I do like, Antony does have good intentions. You know, he does. And I totally understand. I liked that we got more of a view into his character of like, why, I just always want to know why people are the way that they are and why they do the things that they do. And I think we got such a great insight into him and the way that he ticks and how he literally saw his father die in front of him. And then he became the man of the house as a child and had to start like keeping the books and being the man of the household for his mother and his 7 younger siblings who like range from being just like like a year younger than him to all the way down to a fucking newborn baby. Like, I get that he has a lot of responsibilities, and to have that pressure on you from like a very young age, or like not very young, but like a younger age than you should have to have that pressure on you. It makes total sense why he acted the way that he did in the first season and why he still is making these kind of choices in the second season when he's like, I have responsibilities to uphold, so I can't love because I just need to find someone who's an actual good match because I have all this stuff. As much as I'm like, dude, come on, like, get it together. It makes sense. Like, you understand why he does the things that he does.
Yeah.
But, I mean, his locker room talk, bro.
Yeah, I just really love the pacing of everything, too, because, like, the first 2 episodes is like, fuck this guy, and then we start to get the flashbacks and seeing how, like you said, why he is the way that he is and why he's been acting the way that he's been acting with his decision to find a wife this social season. And yeah, I mean, I don't think it's like mutually exclusive, you know, like it's understandable why he's acting the way that he does, but I do like when his family calls him out for it. And it's like when his brothers are like, so when you get married, is your duty finally fulfilled and you can like stop talking to us about it because it's literally exhausting.
Yeah.
And you're insufferable. And how he's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone in my family hates me. And it's like, at least you know, because you're so annoying. Like, they all love you, but you are so just like, I would hate to have a brother like this. I'd be like, take it outside, babe. Like, the complaining, I can't do it. No one asked for you to marry someone you don't want to marry.
And I love when Violet specifically checks him too, because she's like, I am literally your mother. Like, yes, you might be the man of this house and going to be like Lord Bridgerton, whatever, like, oh, the Viscount. Like, yes, you are the Viscount of this household, but I am still your mom, so check your fucking place. And I love watching her do that because it's like the time, like in the time here, it's so weird that like a son would be bossing a mother around and like that his voice would trump the mom's. It does, but you see that Violet is like, no, Antony, try again. You may think you know better, but you in fact do not.
Edwina and Kate, I think their growth as individuals and their relationship as sisters is great, and how they kind of like coincide throughout the season. You know, they both want what's best for each other. Edwina regards Kate as like a grown woman, and by the end, Kate finally regards Edwina as a grown woman too, with her own opinions. And it's like, you know, Edwina has grown into a great young woman as well. And I love that Edwina is a likable character, because they could have easily made her like easily dislikable. Yeah, not even villainous, but just kind of like how the Featherington sisters are, just like kind of like ugly stepsisters. Like, they're not evil, they're not like doing anything bad, but they're just like, shouldn't be with the guy. It should be the woman that actually like truly loves him. But I think, you know, it just made the plot even more interesting and thick for her to be so likable and for us to be like, no, she deserves happiness too. And I just love how at the end she was like, this is how it's gonna be because I can make my own decisions and you don't need to do anything for me anymore. And I really love her and Kate, Edwina and Kate dancing at the Featherington Ball together.
That was so fucking cute. I loved that their relationship was like healed by the end of it because I didn't want to see them. Like you can just tell from the very beginning how much Kate loves Edwina, but then also how much Edwina like respects Kate's opinion and like wants her approval and like really seeks her guidance and her approval and everything that she does. So I love that by the end, like, yes, Edwina totally like came into her own and that they were able to repair that because they could have made her like be catty or like passive aggressive towards Kate and Antony, but she never was, and I liked that. And I feel like we haven't really touched on Edwina that much, which like she's obviously a very big part of the season, but I do think like she's just like a solid character. She doesn't have a ton to her outside of her relationship with Antony and her relationship with Kate. She is much more of like a character to fuel their character lines more than like to fuel her own. But I thought she was like a solid presence, and I thought the actress who played her was great, and I thought that like her and Kate had really great chemistry together. And I just liked the fact that, again, like in these old times, we have these two sisters that are not like fully blood related because they have different mothers, and that in this time, like that's like obviously not socially acceptable, but that they never viewed each other as less than sisters. That moment though at the wedding scene when Edwina said like we are not sisters, that like broke me. Like,
yeah,
when she said that, I like felt that like a punch in my own gut, and I'm like, and then Kate's reaction to that was so good because it's like, no, but you are. And I just liked that they always, even when they didn't put each other first, they still always were still like a priority for each other. And I liked that. Obviously, we just love to see women coming together. We don't like to see women being foes.
I think it's interesting when you're putting someone else above yourself, but then it's like, it's an example, this whole situation is an example of like when you put someone else's happiness in life ahead of your own. Sometimes it just like ends up fucking everything up and making everyone unhappy. And I think that's the case with Antony's character and Kate's character. And they both kind of realize that at the same time. It's like, we have both hugely fucked up and it's just because we have this like self-appointed duty. Not really self-appointed, especially in Antony's case, but it's like this duty that we're like clinging so steadfastly to, and everyone just wants us to be happy and like make our own decisions, but we're like getting all wrapped up in this nonsense. I think Edwina, it was really cool, her reaction of like being betrayed but then also handling it very maturely, and how she handled that whole situation with the king coming out of his chambers with his like little episode, and how she was the only one who knew what to do in that situation. It just really, I think, showed us as an audience and then the people that were with her that had been kind of treating her as this little diamond to be protected, but she's just like a woman. She knows what she's doing, and she's like a great individual. I love in things when you can't see how people are going to mend a relationship, and we love a good like life-threatening situation to just speed that whole process, that forgiveness process up.
And I love a dramatic rain moment.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
And him carrying her back inside like that.
Speaking of wetness, I wanted to comment about when Antony fell into the lake and came out with his white puffy shirt wet and see-through. Oh, baby. I thought of you in that moment. I was like, Michaela is not well.
No. Unwell. Unfucking well. My God. That's what I'm saying. Like, some of those moments were so much hotter than anything that Daphne and Simon did in the first season. Like, that shot is for the women. That is a total, like, female gaze. And I guess, like, gaze to that shot. Because they were doing some fan service with that moment. That was so good. And then I love how Kate's like, it's not polite to stare. And then she can't help but stare at him. Also, I do just think that, like, out of all the brothers in the first season, I was most attracted to Antony, and he only lived up to that. And also, getting rid of the sideburns helped even more.
Yeah.
The sideburns were not it in the first season. But in episode 1, I just liked that we got a very different start to Antony than he got in his first season, because in his first one, you know, he's off banging Sienna, and he's, like, running late, where in this one, he's like, come on, chop chop, like, he's, like, kind of on top of his game, because he knows that, like, he's gonna switch things up this year. And then I also liked how in the first season we had Daphne getting ready for her introduction, and this season we had Eloise getting ready for her introduction. Because again, you're giving that like familiarity to the audience, but you're also making it new and different. And then I loved Kate and Antony's combative encounter, like outside of the ball there, when they're going back and forth. Like right off the bat there, I was like, they are going to serve with this enemies to lovers, because already they're like banter top notch.
Yes.
Episode 2, I loved the horse races scene. I thought that was great. And like when he tells the one dude to go get lemonade so that way he can like steal his seat, and then the one dude comes back and they all like cram in. You would not catch me dead at something like that. But I do love it, and I think that's like, it's just cute. I don't know. I liked it. And then again, how like him and Kate are literally arguing over people, and people are like, what is their deal? Episode 3, we already talked about all of them, but once again, just the bee scene at the end, that was so good. Antony spiraling and Kate helping him out in that moment. That touched, like, that hit the same spot as in Girls, the scene where Hannah is having, like, an absolute breakdown, and Adam goes running through the streets of New York on the phone with her, and he's like, stay on the phone with me, stay on the phone with me. It's so good. Kate, you probably don't know what scene I'm talking about.
You've talked about it before, like, so I do know.
It hit the same spot as that. Mental health crises and a supportive partner just hits for me.
Yeah.
Episode 4, love Kate constantly putting Antony in his place. Once again, we just love to see Antony get put in his place because he needs it. Specifically with the hunting conversation, you could just see Benedict's facial expressions behind him, like, ooh, dude, you're digging yourself into a hole here. Mm-hmm. The tension, that dance. Episode 4 was the dance. You're so right. Episode 4 was such a strong one. Number 5, episode 5, the lake scene, hot is my only note because, like we just said, hot. Love the dinner scene and the scene after the tension is going to kill me. What was that scene? Was that in his office? That was the bane of my existence and the object of all my desires. Loved that. Didn't know how we were going to get out of the wedding. Glad we got out of it.
Same.
Episode 7, the dance at the ball between the families was so cute, and love a dramatic rain moment, and about the boob grab scene. Hottest scene I've ever seen in my life. Was that not though?
I can't remember that.
The hand holding. Katie, you have to go back and watch it because he grabs her boob and then they like entwine their hands together. I don't know. I also just love hands. So anyways, just they're doing all the fan service for me, I guess.
Yeah.
Episode 8, love the conversation between Eloise and Benedict out on the swings. Again, that was such a callback to the first season that I really liked, and I just think their friendship is cute. And the final scene back on the Pall Mall field between all of them, and like seeing them happy, and like I was longing for them to have like a couple moments, like a happy out there and in love couple moment, and I thought that was great. And seeing them like interact with all the siblings and like them kind of teasing them a little bit, and when he grabs her around the shoulders and they're like hugging each other at the end, that was just all so good. And I just like, I felt everything between the two of them, and they just, like, completely knocked it out of the park for me. They, like, carried this whole... I mean, the season as a whole was great, but really, truly, like, Kate and Antony carried every moment for me.
I'm done. This hat is making... I just, like, keep manipulating it in ways to make it look, like, funny, and now, oh my god, it kind of looks like a Lady Danbury hat.
Yeah. Or when she's hunting. Katie. And your name is Katie.
Ooh.
Oh my god, wait, real quick. The other scene when she's hunting and when she lifts up her skirt and like he sees her thigh and his brain short circuits because he sees her thigh. That's the other thing. You say that you don't have the amount of work to get ready, but also just the amount of garments that they wear. How are they not all sweating? I'm a very hot person that I cannot imagine the amount of sweat that would be in my dresses with all those layers. Like, that's just disgusting.
Yeah, I feel like people probably just didn't smell very good.
No.
But they were like all used to it. I'm so glad to be born in a time of deodorant and perfume.
Yes.
I guess perfume probably existed back then, but it probably would have given me a rash, so I would not have thrived.
Well, no, it's probably only for really rich people. Oh, the queen having, speaking of rich people, the queen having peacocks, like zebras and elephants.
Yeah, and she like wants them to fly. Also, okay, hold on. Going back to the queen real fast, babe. Imagine not having to worry about war or like famine or anything. You're just really preoccupied with the social season and this fucking Gossip Girl ass fucking figure. But okay, I can't even tear her apart because she is always on point. Her hair matching the outfits. Like, Your Majesty, fantastic. You better fucking work. You better fucking work.
I would gladly pay taxes to her.
Same. And, oh, can I just say, the blue wig and blue dress combo was my favorite look that she did.
So good. Yes, 1,000% agree.
I would love, I wonder if they have done like a behind the scenes of her getting into her look, because I think of the whole cast, she just has the most like eccentric get up. Yeah. And I find her just to be completely fabulous, and I love her so much.
I'd like to know how much her hair weighed.
Yeah.
Like, it's gotta have been heavy. Also, what was she snorting?
Oh, yep. I was gonna say, I think people just casually did coke back then. But like, I think that was like coffee, but like, yeah.
Yeah. Also, Benedict, when he was high as fuck at that dinner table, I was like, that was me in the movie theater when we went to go see Scream. Except I was like having a bad trip where Benedict was having a fun time.
Did you see Angus Cloud on the red carpet and he's just like, no thank you, when she was like asking him questions?
No.
Oh my god, bitch.
Was he really high?
He sounds like he is tripping major balls, because they're just like, what do you have to say to fans about like the ending of this season? And he's just like, thanks for tuning in. It was a wild ride. And she at one point like asked him to, or she was like, was it emotional for you this season? And he was like, yeah. And she was like, what parts? What was emotional about it? And he was just like, no thank you.
I love him.
I was like, that would literally be me if I were on the red carpet, like off an edible or something. I'd be like, yeah, good vibes. And she was like, what's next for you? And he's like, I don't know, I'm gonna go take some pictures or something.
Can you imagine both of us back in Bridgerton time, both unmedicated, how... like what kind of drugs we would just blindly be taking anything we could find.
Oh my god. Yeah, I think I think I am a combination of like eldest child syndrome Antony and like party girl Benedict. I'm like I felt very much like a lot of them. I mean, even Eloise too, I'm very similar to in ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely be a party goer and probably lean into the drink. Can I tell you, I looked into selling my eggs. Because I did, because you can get literally 50 grand for doing that. And I applied, and I was rejected.
Why were you rejected? Is it because you're mentally ill?
Well, okay, so they were like, we cannot disclose why you were rejected, but like our selection process is very whatever. It has to either be the fact that I'm on fluoxetine or the fact that I recreationally use marijuana, because everything else I felt like checked the boxes. You know, I have a very, like, good family health history, no, like, paternal or maternal, like, alcohol abuse, like, my immediate family. I was like, I think I have a pretty good chance. But no, rejected. And marijuana is legal where I live, so what's the problem? And then, two, if you are not genetically born with some sort of mental illness, baby, you are going to get it in this world. I'm so sorry. The odds.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you.
The odds that you get through this lifetime with, like, unscathed mentally up here, what are the chances? I have eggs to give to anyone. So if you are in need and you are fine with a little bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs up in the head, which it's not even cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, babe. I have anxiety. Sorry about it. And the occasional little smokity smoke. Hit me up because I am happy to provide my eggs for someone who is unable to reproduce, and I would settle for $30,000.
A bargain. Now let's just hope though that if you do, that then they don't get stolen from the egg bank, fertilized, and then implanted into me when I'm in a mental health facility that my crazy husband put me into, and then I realize that I'm actually pregnant with your child. Like in Pretty Little Liars.
That would be a really fucked up situation.
But you know what? This pod would take off with that story.
Yeah, I guess it would.
We would be rolling in money. Think of the book deal. Think of the tell-alls.
I just think it's really fucking rude that I got rejected and I have perfectly good eggs to give. I also, I mean, this is way more, but I would not be opposed to being a surrogate if the price was right.
That price would have to be really fucking right.
I have really good birthing hips, and if I could have money to sew some things back up after the fact, I think I'd be okay. And with that, I think we're done. So
yeah, I think we are done. Also, wait, real quick. Also, again, Violet's birth scene was like traumatic as fuck. I'm like, no wonder Eloise, when she says, she's like, you tried to keep me from hearing mom screams. I didn't. Like, I still heard them. And I totally get why Eloise would be scared of like another level of like conforming to society, of like having children, because that was scary to watch. And like in that time when they had nothing, like so many women died in childbirth. That's so scary.
Childbirth, period, spooky. Childbirth without an epidural, I'm killing myself. I'm sorry, but I would not do that.
I just don't want to do it at all.
I don't either, but once again, if the price is right, I am available.
I am not, so consult Katie. For all of your birthing and egg needs, consult Katie.
Oh, fuck. If Corinne listens to this episode, she's gonna be like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Hey, at least she knows that you are willing to have the child in the relationship.
No, we would not be keeping a child. We are not reproducing in any form except taking in stray animals, as I already have.
I mean, I literally love Dorian and Arya as much as anyone could love a human child. Like, I miss them when I'm away from them. They're all I think about. They are my everything. Fucking LYLAS kitties.
Shout out. All right, y'all. We gotta figure out what we're doing for the upcoming weeks of this podcast. But please go watch our live reaction of Secret Life of the American Teenager on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the green follow button on Spotify if that's where you're listening. Leave us a 5-star rating and review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts. Do whatever you need to do to let people know that you like this show. Please and thank you. Because it's tough out in these streets and we're just trying to make it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but I don't think there is. We will see you all next week.
LYLAS.
LYLAS.